Hey, AfterBuzzers, you are watching the Orange is the New Black after show. Gang is all here tonight. We have the kitchen crew back together. Blanca and Maritza are back together, but not in the greatest of ways. And even Taystee and Cindy reunite. You are watching the after show for Season 7, Episode 3 right now.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What is up, everybody?
Hello, hello.
Episode 3, another amazing episode with my girls.
Hey.
Thank y'all so much for joining us for another episode of the Orange is the New Black after show. I'm April, joined by my lovely co-host Francesca.
Hi.
And Breanna.
Hello.
Thank y'all for joining us again. Let us know what you thought in the comments because, as per usual, another crazy episode. Being that it's the final season, I feel like we're just going to say that every single time.
Probably.
Pretty much. What did y'all think about the episode overall? So much happening, I know.
It was a little bit slower to me than the last episode, but there was still so much going on.
Yeah. I got goosebumps once you pointed out where they were going, the kitchen crew.
Oh, yes.
I was like, oh my God, Maritza. I was
Right.
like, okay, awesome.
I know we'll get there in our conversation and talk about it, but just the thought of so many people being back together, which I feel like truly we've begged for since season 2, that group kind of being back together. It just makes me really, really happy, the thought of it.
Yeah.
We start off tonight's episode with kind of what I would consider a big dog move. The new warden. I'm not going to say that.
gross
We're
name.
just going to call her Ward, okay? Or Warden,
W2.
whatever. The new warden has shut down the shoe. And so we see Red and Battison and Gloria getting out, of course, to the CO's dismay. Even I believe it's Hopper that says at one point, he's like, AdSeg is already overflowing, so what are you going to do now? And she says, we're going to, do this with positive reinforcement. We've seen the episode, so we know what happens, but do you think this idea of hers is a good idea?
I mean, I think it's a good idea. I don't think solitary is good. Like we see with Red, she's practically not even the same person anymore.
Yeah.
But maybe it could have been like a transition, or I don't know. But I personally think it was a good move.
Yeah.
I thought it was testy as a first move for someone so new with very little experience. I was very nervous, and it's obvious that she has no idea what she's really doing because when Taystee got in that fight with Battison and then she jumped in, honestly, I don't think it's the warden's job to jump into something like that. That's why you have, I was about to say soldiers. Other officers to
Soldiers
handle
of
stuff
jail.
like that.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it was an impulsive thing because her intentions are really good, but I don't think shutting it down immediately without already having a backup plan was the smartest thing.
I totally agree because even when it was happening, I feel the same way. Like solitary confinement is, we can list all the reasons why it's so terrible, but like you said, just look at Red. She is almost suicidal, and they kind of list the things that are Ward. God, I keep wanting to say Ward, and I'm like, don't say that, you're gonna have that up. But she lists these things of people having mental breakdowns and being suicidal, and Red has this moment where she's like, I don't know if I can go on. But I also had the part of me that was like, well, so are you just gonna move people to AdSeg? Like, you definitely can't just do it and be like, okay, let's figure this out. Anytime you have a plan like that, like, there are always going to be some parts of it that you do just kind of have to figure out.
Right.
But it just seemed like she clearly didn't have a plan.
Right. I mean, she's super green. I think, when we see later with Natalie Figueroa, when she comes in and kind of talks to her, at first she starts talking to her kind of like out of like spite, like, ugh, you're this young 20, what did they say? 25,
26,
26?
I think.
26.
Yeah, something there, like taking her spot, but she gave her some advice, like, just do whatever you want. Like, yeah, you got put here because you're a woman, or you got put here because you're black, but just do it. So I think she was just starting off really green, but now that she's going to have more confidence, and so it's going to go in the right direction.
I think the conversation that they had, as much as Fig has been a let's say disliked character throughout her tenure on Orange is the New Black.
She's a lovely person.
Yes, she is. I actually appreciated the conversation between the two of them because I compare it to the conversation that she had with Hopper, meaning that Ward had with Hopper, where essentially same situation. Obviously, he's coming at her like super on fire because he was the direct person and probably, according to what he says, and I believe it, the more experienced person. And, a lot of times in a job like that, you do learn from being on the job.
Right.
He makes fun of her doing these night classes and whatever. But I see those two and compare them because it's essentially the same thing. He's telling her, I think you got this job because you're a woman and because you're black. But he doesn't say that. And he's a man, things come off different. But I appreciated that Fig was like, yeah, you still got the job. Do what you're going to do with it. Like, they both could have said the exact same thing, but she was straight up and she's like, okay, so what are you going to do? Are you just going to lay down and let everybody tell you what to do? No, you have to figure it out. And I mean, she obviously ends up in the end of the episode doing it well, but it definitely kind of scares you a little bit and even made me question her a bit whenever he's like, it should have been me. I'm like, well, maybe it should have been, but it's not.
It's not.
So
yeah. Part of me is kind of like, how naive are you to really think that your little night classes made you qualified to be a warden? Like, so the thought of you being a black woman didn't cross your mind one time.
Right.
Yeah.
So that makes me question her a little bit, because if you're that naive, granted, I was kind of scared that she was going to go ahead and move Voss or like take it into consideration heavily. I'm glad that she didn't.
Right.
But just that situation alone where she didn't once think that she got the position because she was black, it's kind of like, girl, you got to harden up.
Right.
And Natalie pointed that out. She said, if that chair is going to bring out that much emotion out of you, you are not going to last here.
Right. And she can clearly still get her points across and do what she thinks is the right thing without, breaking herself down as a person. She doesn't have to change herself as a person. She just has to be a little more, I guess, tough.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't even want to say she has to be tough, but like that is what it is. You can't just like take everybody running over you because they've been there longer and especially because they're men.
Right.
That just isn't going to work.
I really like, though, how Hellman said, oh, I love your blazer, because he was just being
a D-bag.
Yeah. And then Figueroa was like, get a new blazer.
I mean, it was pretty atrocious. Let's all
It was
be real.
terrible.
It was really bad. Yes, we can talk about fashion on Orange is the New
Yeah.
Black. It's
Woo!
fine. There's also a part for that. Hellman approaches her, as you mentioned, with the situation of the Battison situation. We see her get out of the shoe, and she's essentially blaming everything on Alex, which it is technically Alex's fault. We know that Alex was setting her up, blah, blah, blah. She ends up in the shoe,
horrible.
whatever. It surprises me that Battison still thinks that she kind of has this say to be able to call the shots. Clearly, she hasn't seen Daya recently. But I do like the fact that she just totally gets shut down. And he does kind of fall for it because McCullough and Alex do this crazy ploy at the beginning of the episode to get him off her back. We talked about in the last episode, how do we think she's going to get out of it? And we're all like, I mean, she can.
Yeah.
Okay, like 30 seconds in, she gets out of it. Yeah.
Well, she gets out of it with Hellman, but
Yeah.
she's gets stuck trying to slang vitamins.
Girl. Oh my gosh. Well, I would rather get stuck with McCullough than Hellman.
Yeah.
Because she can manipulate McCullough if she wanted to. Because she's like vitamins. She said what, like the Centrum
Centrum or whatever.
Girl.
Right.
And
And
you don't stop.
She got it out of her mom's medicine cabinet or something
And
like
She's like,
that.
some of them are expired.
Ooh, more thrill.
Yeah.
No, but like the last episode after we filmed, I was thinking like, wait a minute, what is she gonna be giving her? Like, what
Right?
drugs is she gonna be selling? Where did McCullough come up with drugs?
I don't know how that never crossed my mind. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, she's selling drugs. That's it.
Vitamins.
Right?
That makes me nervous because I'm like, this can go very badly because McCullough is so dim in this type of situation. So she's just way over her head, and I just see it going really bad for both of them.
the fact that she clearly says, she's like, I'm new at this. I don't know how to acquire drugs. Okay, then why did you, give her this proposition? Why did you ask her to do this? You have to, just like Ward, you have to have a plan in place. Not that we're, promoting the selling of drugs, but it's like, this is a TV show. If this is what's going to happen, then you need to be able to figure it out. Mm-hmm. Are y'all surprised that Hellman kind of fell for the ploy?
No.
He's an idiot. Yeah, exactly.
So he got so upset that he ate all 3 burritos that he brought in that day. I was a little surprised myself because I immediately knew what was happening because it was just so obvious. But I guess with everything that's going on and they're having all of these random drug searches because of Daddy's death, I shouldn't be that surprised, but I guess she just played it better than I thought she could ever play it, meaning McCullough did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have too much love for her, but...
And McCullough is very square, so it would definitely go over his head if she ever got into a situation like that. So for her to reprimand Alex, it fits her character, so it was easy for him to fall into that.
That's very true. His... the interactions that Hellman had with Battison, of course, she's immediately asking to get back in the game with the drugs with him. But in the meantime, she manages to somehow piss off Taystee again. Now, granted, Taystee is coming straight off a meeting with Cindy that Suzanne has parent trapped them in. Which,
Suzanne.
If anybody could do it, Suzanne could do it.
Right.
Yeah.
But it went exactly how I expected it to go. I mean, I never expected them to, of course, have any sort of good conversation, especially the first time. But I guess it's just it is what it is. And it surprises me that Cindy even looked like she expected Taystee to have some sort of positive reaction to their meeting.
I don't know. I think, oh my gosh, why am I blanking on her name? Taystee.
Yeah.
Taystee's
I passed it along to you.
I think Taystee's fight with Battison was because Cindy wanted her to fight her, and she didn't.
Oh, yeah.
And so she took that anger out on Battison.
Absolutely.
She just gave her a reason. I don't know if Cindy had expectations for how the meeting would go when she saw it because she was caught off guard.
Right.
But I think she would have just been happy for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do feel like of either the two of them, Cindy would be the one that would be most likely to break down and be like, okay, let's figure it out. I mean, we saw her say go ahead, hit me, I deserve this. But Taystee's just no.
No, because it's giving her something that she wants. And because if Taystee hits her, then it's almost obviously they're nowhere near even, but it's okay, we're a little more even now because I did this, but you beat me up, so whatever. But Taystee's smarter than that and isn't going to give her the satisfaction. And it makes me sad to say that because I've always loved their friendship and I've always loved Cindy, but it's also she's in jail for life because of you. Yeah. And how is there a resolution? Even when she says, I tried to fix it, you have to know that I tried to fix it. Too late. What can you do now?
Part of me feels like Taystee still has a little bit of love for Cindy still. Yeah. And that's why.
I think so too.
Because Taystee knew if she put her hands on Cindy, she would F her up.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to do that to her friend.
That's true. And I know there's the part of Taystee that knows Cindy did it because it's basically her, or I don't think it wasn't going to be Cindy's accused then, but she was getting time off of her sentence. We have to remember the kind of the perks, if you can call them that. Obviously it didn't turn out that way for some people, but the perks that they were offering. So these are all real people that didn't know each other before and have made these friends in prison, but they are legitimate friendships, so you still kind of expect no one to do that to you, obviously. But when faced with that, I think Taystee is smart enough to at least be able to think of it. Of course, that's never going to justify anything, and she's never going to be okay with it. But at least, it makes me just feel awful for Suzanne because the reaction that she had after, where she's laying in bed just
Can we talk about this nappy-headed puppet that Pensateki made that's supposed to look like Suzanne?
At the beginning of the episode, I was like, what? When she takes it to Taystee in the yard or whatever it's called, At the end where she's asking Suzanne like to tell her the story from camp, and she's like, well, you can tell it to me because I'm not a person. I actually thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Maybe we're like, delirious at this point, but I was like, this is funny. But that's just Pennsatucky to do something so weird like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys heard me point out, but Suzanne had a little poster on the wall of like little rocks with googly eyes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so cute.
She's such a child.
I know.
I know. But another thing kind of piggybacking off the last episode as well, she has these moments where she just has more insight into these situations than even a lot of other people do.
Yeah.
And she's still so confused because she's to the point where it's like, okay, but Cindy said she did this, but this didn't really happen. So how is this okay? It's like she asks the questions with her own mind, but it's actually more, educated or makes a better point than what anyone else is saying because they don't even ask. They just accept the situation. And she at least has, the courage to say it out loud, I guess. She and Pennsatucky are kind of making for a really great little
tag
combo.
team, yeah.
Yeah, I like them together because Pennsatucky knows how to handle her and I guess manipulate her in a way. And Suzanne is friendly with everybody, but she respects Pennsatucky's thought.
Yeah.
So I like them.
What do you think about Suzanne telling Pennsatucky about what actually happened the day of the shooting? Do you think it's a good idea or a bad idea? I mean, Pennsatucky isn't really known for keeping her mouth shut.
Yeah.
But also she did keep a whole entire relationship and a whole runaway thing a secret as well. So maybe she is.
I don't know. I can't really see it going anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, they're both in psych
Florida.
ward, so she's not gonna... Is that Florida?
That's what they call Florida.
Why did I think... Oh, no. Okay, so they're off the psych ward. April. But... They're not known to, be of sound mind.
Right.
So neither of them. And I guess that's a good point. Like, who's actually going to listen to them?
Exactly.
I don't know. We'll see. But who's going to listen to us? Francesca!
Oh my God. Well, actually, you guys are listening to us, and we just wanted to thank you for doing that. You guys make us the ESPN of TV talk, and we appreciate that so much. So if you're watching us on YouTube, please make sure you hit subscribe and like the thumbs up button, hit the thumbs up button. And then if you're listening to us on iTunes, rate us 5 stars and always leave us comments. We love reading them. Thanks for being a part of our conversation.
Yes,
Thank
we
you.
love it so much. Before we move on to our next topic, the episode does end with Ward sending Taystee to D Block, Cindy to Florida.
How did that come about?
Madison to Missouri.
Bye, Madison.
I'm so glad she's gone.
So happy that she's
so
gone.
happy.
Her and her horrible Boston accent.
Yes.
I don't think we'll be seeing any more of her. Also, I gotta call you out, Orange is the New Black. Whenever the 2 times we've seen Madison get beat up by Taystee, it's just such a fake looking fall. It looks like it's a fake ragdoll wig.
Because it glided so far.
And then it's just shapes in a weird way. I was like, she didn't really fall right there, but that's okay. But I actually felt a little bad for Taystee because I was like, oh, she should be in Florida. But I mean,
She's a
Taystee,
lifer, though.
Yeah,
they don't care about lifers.
it makes sense, but I love Taystee, so I wanted her to be in Florida and at least have something good.
I don't know how Cindy got in Florida.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that one too.
Yeah, that's really random.
Well, because she's in D Block right now, and Taystee is in C Block. So she's having trouble in C Block.
Oh,
so they moved her to D Block. Clearly she can't be with Cindy because of the history, so they moved Cindy to Florida.
Oh, yeah, because
seems like they could have just sent her to D Block, but also I think she used to be there. And basically it's all connected, and Florida isn't connected whatsoever. So it's put them as far away as possible.
Yeah, I forgot that she was having issues in D Block. Okay.
And she also shuts down the Vosh transfer, which I don't think we thought was going to happen
No.
in the first place anyway. It kind of ties us into a little bit just because of the Madison stuff. Alex is still going through her same situation, obviously. I'm a little... Maybe we'll get past the McCullough thing soon, but I just don't really know. Piper's in there as well. We're seeing the random snippets of her.
Yeah.
And I know they're doing it because it's why this show... the show originally started
Because of Piper.
Because of her, and that is what the book is centered around. I'm interested to see if we'll see this every single episode. I did love seeing the parole officer breaking up the babysitting party.
Me too.
And I know they're doing it for a purpose. Like, we're still seeing this, and then we're going to see this other side of, you know, what it's like to be out. Obviously, it's going to be very different for each of them to be out if they, you know, fingers crossed, ever get out anyway. I definitely appreciate why they're doing it. I was interested to see how soon it would happen, that the ladies of the little like babysitting group would actually find out. Mm-hmm. But clearly she knew that getting fired from her job was going to bring the parole officer calling. I mean,
I don't know. Sometimes Piper is like kind of airheaded. So she's not thinking about it. But I did think it was funny how that mom that stayed at the very end, like, I don't know. I don't think I would have freaked out like that, like all the moms would have, because Piper is being the like nanny, I guess, for her niece.
Right.
So like how
it's not like she's watching all of your kids.
Right. Yeah, but it's like, why would her brother not entrust her? The brother,
because it's her brother.
You know what I mean? I don't know, but how she was blaming the baby. I'm okay with it, but the baby's a little judgmental.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
I don't know, because I'm thinking about it and I'm putting myself in the mom's situations, and I'm saying, I only know this girl for what, 2 weeks,
right?
And I'm at her house, I'm letting her hold my baby, and I find out that she's an ex-con, not because she came out and told us, but because her probation officer had to pop up because she didn't go on a visit. She's irresponsible too.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm out. Peace out, and I'm taking my baby. Deuces.
Right. And they don't know what kind of felony she committed. I mean, clearly she's out, wasn't in there for very long, so like can't be anything too major. But I mean, she was in for drug trafficking. They're not going to care to, you know the background of it.
Right.
This is someone, like you said, someone they just met. Okay, pish posh.
Yeah, we have no history.
Right. Wash your hands of it. We don't need this. And I mean, it's a sad reality of the situation. I could imagine myself with a kid in the same, and I'm probably going to be like, okay, I love you so much. No judgment, but like, I gotta go. Because it's your child, you do crazy things that you would never do, before you have a kid for that. I don't have kids, but like, I can imagine what I would do. But, Piper's also very lucky in the sense that, her parole officer comes, you got to get a job, which like you do. I'm pretty sure that's a part of almost every probation, no matter what the charge is. And she's lucky to be able to go to her dad and ask for a job. Clearly it's not a good situation, but at least she has a dad that has I couldn't go to my dad and be like, hey, give me a job, because my dad works for somebody. But she has this situation where she's lucky enough to be able to do that. So, they're showing us every aspect, which I like. And I also love Piper. I love my OGs, obviously. But I wonder where they're going to take her story, I guess, for the rest of the season. Because we're just getting a little bit of the same.
I hope that this is a moment where Piper takes it upon herself to be more open about her past when she's dealing with new people. Not to say that she should be shouting it from the rooftops and let everybody know. Yeah. But there are many times where Piper should just be honest about what's going on, and she chooses not to because of her pride, or she's embarrassed, or whatever, what have you. I just hope she learns and says, you know what? I just need to be more open about this because this is my truth, and there's no hiding it.
I think it's like I'm pretty sure this is like a Disney movie or something like that recently, where they said, someone was like, oh, why didn't you tell me this? This is so huge. Like, how could you keep this secret? And the people had just recently met, and they were like, oh, well, give me a minute before I tell you my deepest, darkest secrets. I don't really know you. So, but I think it's not that, and Piper doesn't really know these people, but she did have, she's lying about the wife thing when they're talking about, how did the nudes go over? She's like, she loved them. But I think it's different maybe when kids are involved, but she definitely doesn't owe it to anyone, especially at first, but also she does need to learn. I mean, it is a part of her life. And if she was already in a situation where it seemed like she was becoming friends and maybe trusting these people, then she could have given it a shot. She has to do it eventually.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll have a conversation with Larry or something like that. Since we saw him a couple of
You want Larry to come back so bad.
I love Larry. I don't know when I started loving him, but I love Larry.
Anytime I see him, I just think apple pie, so I can't.
Oh,
true.
Shall we? Can't.
Another OG. We're having a lot of problems tonight. Red is just in it. CO Copeland, and we'll get to the ice part later, but approaches her about being the leader of the kitchen at the ICE detention center.
But they don't know that it's the ICE.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They assume, I guess, that it's their prison or maybe Litchfield, because they're in Max, and no, Litchfield isn't even a thing because of the riot.
Yeah.
And she says no. And I didn't think that she would say yes. You know, we've seen a snippet of her throughout the first 3 episodes. Obviously, we got to see more tonight in the 3rd episode. But she just can't handle it. And I really did. I know I said it earlier, but in that scene where she and Gloria are by the dryers, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's going to commit suicide. And, you know, I don't even want to say that because I don't want to be all like grim and dark, but, you know, Red is, from what they say, I don't know how old the actress is, but according to what they've said in the show, like a significant amount of years older than the rest of the people that she's kind of grouped with. She even has a moment where she says something about, I forget their names, but the 2 people who are no longer in the show.
Norma and someone. I forgot the other one.
But they're not around whatsoever anymore. You said, oh my gosh, maybe she has Alzheimer's.
I think that she's developing Alzheimer's or dementia or something. And the fact that you said that she's older than everybody, it ties in, because not only did that moment happen about the friends, but also when she and Gloria were in, not Max,
the shoe or
the shoe.
Whatever. Yeah.
And they were naming ingredients for cakes, and Red was in the midst of naming ingredients for something, and Gloria said, okay, what cake are we making? And Red was just saying, what are you talking about? She completely lost her chain of thought. And then the 3rd time was when they got to the kitchen at ICE, and Red and Lorna were saying, yeah, you know, you have to see Lorna's son's name. And Red had no clue who they were talking about. And then, oh my gosh, I just said her name.
Nikki.
Nikki. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, guys. Nikki said, yeah, he's such a big kid right now. And Red's like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see him. So I just feel like her memory is going, and that's part of why she's so depressed and sad, because she knows there's something wrong.
Yeah, and I think her being there by herself so long just probably did not help that whatsoever.
Yeah. They talk about it's like, I hope it's not something like that. They do mention that, you know, being in solitary confinement can cause people to have this type of situation, but it's, I mean, I guess when you put all those things together, it's a little scary to think about that. I feel like we don't have, I don't know, they have to make Red, you know, her exit of the show. I don't mean like I mean like, you know, we're at the final season of the show, so like, how is her story going to end? I feel like they have to give her an epic ending, but I just don't want it to be something like that.
Yeah.
But maybe being in the kitchen will make her better, because Gloria talks her into it.
Yep.
And says maybe we can get some of the old gang together, and then everybody. It's Gloria, Red, Flocka, Lorna, and Nikki. And they're going to head the kitchen, and they head on down to ICE. And this means some of our favorite girls are going to be reunited.
I'm so excited.
It's a very exciting thought of Flocka and Maritza being back together and just having so many of them back together. But it's obviously in a very bad situation. Probably the most, you know, emotional part of the episode is seeing what Blanca and Maritza are going through. We get a bit of Blanca's story. Maritza obviously is just like, I'm an American citizen. I was born here. She is there like totally not correctly. Literally just because she is of Latin, whatever descent she is. Colombian, perfect. Blanca is a little bit of a different situation, because I even had to look this up just to make sure that like we would say the right things, because there's so many laws with this. But she had a permanent resident green card. We get a great flashback of them doing this whole like concert and a party, and she's talking about how much she loves America, and especially because it brought her are they married at this point?
No.
Her boo, let's say.
Her boo thing.
Exactly. And it was difficult for me to see that because she was, people talk about the negative things about, someone having a green card or migrant workers, whatever. But she had a job. She wasn't doing anything bad. The reason she went to jail, I mean, she's done some other stuff since, obviously, but she was covering for this lady that she was taking care of who hit a mailman, who couldn't even say her name right.
Yeah.
But Blanca, being the person that she was, essentially covered for her. But it just kills to see she was working, like I said, a good citizen, trying to do something right, and then she also is put into this situation. And it was interesting because this is when I Googled it, just like she had this card, what happens? And from what I read, it says that if you commit a certain, a felony, then you have to, when you reapply for your green card, it can be taken away, or you have to, speak in front of all of these deportation judges and things like that. But we find out later that it was because she admitted to being a part of the riot, and that is a deportable offense. And so they were not going to give her green card back. And she is obviously very upset about this because she was approached in that situation as it being a positive thing and as it being, we're taking time off of your sentence, this is going to be good for you. But no one ever mentioned anything about, but also this is going to, cause you to be deported.
Right.
So I don't even understand. Obviously, we don't understand so many things that happen, but I'm just like, don't they have to tell her that?
No. Because the thing is, the right thing would be to tell her that, and they should, but it's easy when you're dealing with someone who's not from this country. English isn't their first language. People love to take advantage of that, especially if they don't have proper legal representation. And so a lot of times in situations like this, it's easier to just get the simplest solution so they can close the book and move on to the next case. So they were like, you know what? Plead guilty for this. These are your benefits. This is the best you're going to get. And if they pose it in a certain way like that, she doesn't have anybody telling her they're screwing you. She's going to take it because that's just a shortcut, but it's a shortcut to a really long journey ahead.
Yeah. I don't even necessarily think that when they gave her the time off that they were like doing it on purpose because of this. I just think that they didn't even care to like look into her status or her situation to see what would happen, because having that added to your record obviously is going to be bad for everyone. But I just don't think they even cared either. And it's also an issue, we see Maritza she's still hopeful about everything because she is a true American citizen, and she's like, no, we can figure this out, but everything costs money. And then how do you get money? And then how do you get in touch with anyone to even let them know where you are? There's a part of me that's like, because she does say that she has family, even though they're estranged. But I'm like, maybe she'll get in touch with someone. But the whole time I'm wondering about Blanca's boo. And I'm like, where is he?
Well,
when it happens, before that, I was like, oh, he can't, Maritza says like, well, you're just mad because your man abandoned you. And then when we see throughout the flashbacks, I'm like, oh, he can't go because he's not an American citizen. He also has a green card, whatever can happen. At that point where I thought that he didn't even have a green card. But then we see him finally getting to visit her. She was sent to Arizona. He spent all this money to go visit her. And then because he didn't have his green card on him in this like random thing, which they say it's not, but whatever, they also put him in ICE.
It's so horrible. I'm surprised. I think we talked about it, but I'm surprised that he came down there without that, especially if he's going to an ICE detention center. But it's still pretty lame because he said, oh, all he said is I need my ID. Like he's probably was naive in that aspect. Like, what do I need to bring? You know what I mean?
It's totally different situation, but it's like no one's obligated technically to tell you what you have to bring. This happened with me with a license thing one time where I got a ticket and then they're like, oh no, you have to do this, but then, or I ended up having to do like multiple steps. No one ever told me. And then I got in extra trouble because I didn't do these things. And I was like, I literally asked, is there anything else I need to do or am I good to go? And they're like, nope, all good. And then it was a whole other mess. Obviously, totally different situation, but it's like they expect, it's called something, I just don't know what it's called. They expect you to know the law of what you're supposed to do.
And that assumption is the problem with the justice system that we have, because the thing is, not everybody can afford proper representation or just someone to give advice, because lawyers will charge you per hour just to talk to you. And so it's very unfortunate, because you're always going to find yourself in situations like that, because who's going to know the laws off the top of your head? And then on top of that, every state is different.
Yeah, very true. I just think of it, you know, it's weird to say, like, I like the way that they're handling it, but I like the way that they're handling it in the show, like showing us what can really happen, what does really happen. It's actually teaching me stuff, literally, like I said, looked stuff up to make sure that, like, we were accurate in what we were saying. But I almost look at it and be like, oh, they're almost, like, lucky that they are where they are, because look at what's happening in real life and what could be going on. Not to say that they're lucky, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. It could be worse.
Yeah, exactly. Before we get into our special segment, anything else from the episode? We good?
I'm good.
Yeah.
It's a lot to digest.
I know.
Guys.
Let's, on a lighter note, let's get into our special segment.
Okay, so we're playing Who Said It Again.
All right, I'm going to do better this time.
Yes, I'm giving you guys Okay, so we're going to jump right into it.
Drum roll.
So our first quote is, "You gave my job to a 12-year-old.
Figueroa.
Okay, good. It keeps the ladies entertained, so we decided not to deport it. This is a tricky one. You have to know. You have to.
It was the hot new guy, Carlos.
Yes! Oh my God.
Hey, boo, call me.
Hey,
Love you, Carlos.
Okay. Bitch, I was born here. I committed my crime legally.
Maritza!
Okay.
That was one of my favorite lines.
That was my favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean when people tell you you're pregnant and your best friend's stepdad gives you money for an abortion you don't need?
Pentateuch.
Yeah.
What did they come up with this stuff?
Okay. It's a sign you can get shit on at any moment, even indoors.
Blanca.
Yes. Okay, here's
bird.
the last
The
one.
bird.
I heard all about the dark web on Black Twitter.
Was it Cindy?
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
There you go. Oh my gosh, you did awesome this time.
Awesome. Francesca, you won that round. So
Shall
I'll
we?
get to the next episode.
So quotable.
Right? Okay, now for some news and gossip for y'all.
AfterBuzz TV News.
The lovely Danielle Brooks that plays our fave girl Taystee came out with a special EP. She actually wrote it herself, and it mentions it's about being on the show, and it actually mentions a lot of the characters. She posted it on her Instagram. I think it launched yesterday, but we're just gonna play a little snippet of it for y'all.
Danielle.
Seasons pass us by, and we think that we've got time, but here we are at the end.
Why does that make me sad?
Let you go. I'll miss you more than you'll know.
I hope they play this on the last episode.
How you made me feel.
Oh my God, Waterworks.
Y'all, we got to give Danielle Brooks some love and
Yeah.
go and buy that, because she literally says she mentions everybody or almost everybody on the show, and it's just kind of an ode to her entire time on Orange is the New Black. So you go, girl.
I know I'm gonna cry.
And I did not know she could sing like that.
Me either.
Either. It's so peaceful.
Props to her. Okay, now let's do some predictions before we wrap up.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
So much.
There's so much going on.
I think that since the kitchen crew came down, that they're gonna have Blanca and Maritza are gonna have a way to get someone from the outside to help them, since they're in there. They can't really have any phone calls. They don't get a lawyer, like the stuff that you normally do in the regular jail system. So now that her BFF Flocka's gonna be there, they're gonna help get them out of there. I mean, if and at the very least, back into regular jail.
I mean, but it seems like it's crazy that seems like it would be a plus, but it
Right.
it kind of is at this point.
I can see the kitchen crew really coming together and happy for the moment. But I feel like Gloria is going to find out that there's something wrong with Red. I think she's because now that they don't have the walls in between them, they can really interact. She's going to notice that something's off. So which is a good thing because Red needs as much help as possible, even though I'm not saying that she does have dementia, but those are the cards that she's dealt. It will be good to have somebody on her side to help her through a dramatic transition like that.
Do you think Gloria already has any idea? Because just thinking about this situation, or when they were talking by the dryers or whatever, Gloria was almost speaking to her in a motherly way, like, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously she's sad, so she's trying to make her feel better, but
yeah, I think Gloria has a very good inkling that there is something off. But I think she thinks it's more emotionally versus something health-wise mentally.
yeah, I concur. I mean, obviously there's just so much happening. I'm gonna definitely predict that we're not gonna see Madison anymore.
Yes!
Which will make me very
Thank
happy.
God.
Love
Oh my
it.
gosh.
I also think that the kitchen crew will kind of come together to help Blanca and Maritza, but I just don't think it's gonna end well. I mean, I know I keep like ending on this very somber note, but I do think that something good is gonna happen for somebody.
Somebody,
I hope
anybody.
so.
It's just I can't even predict who at this moment, but
Yeah.
I predict something good will happen. And there we are.
There we are.
There we
I
are.
hope so too.
Yes. Well, thank y'all so much for joining us. Another great episode with y'all. Definitely let us know what you thought in the comments. We want to interact with y'all. We read everything and try to respond to everything as well. So definitely let us know. In the meantime, y'all can find me everywhere at April Whisenhant.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at XOXOCESCA.
I am _B Chianne, CHIANNE on Instagram.
And y'all can find all of us everywhere at AfterBuzz TV. Remember to subscribe, like, and comment, and we will see y'all for episode 4.
Thanks for watching.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.